Hello, Steve. Hello, Jill. It's time to game classy.
There was a meme not too long ago. It was, how do you spell the opening to The Lion King? I thought that was fun.
That's great.
That was a harmless meme. And they don't make harmless memes anymore. All memes are cruel and unusual.
They've all got some sort of dark
agenda
undertone now.
Yes.
Oh, and even not necessarily agenda. It's always just like, haha, oh, that meme's so funny. Yeah, well, this picture was taken right before this person died. Oh.
Oh, that's sad.
My ha-has are gone now.
Hey everybody, welcome to Game Classy. I'm Joe, and with me as always my co-host Steve.
Hello, yes, welcome to Game Classy, one of the family of Planet Arbitrary podcasts.
But did I say Planet Arbitrary?
No, I told Pat that I was going to start referring. Pat told me I need to start. All right. There's some behind the scenes stuff, but the long and short is Pat suggested something to me, and I thought that was really funny, so I'm going to use it on Game Classy. I said if I remembered, which was the idea was Game Classy, part of the Planet Arbitrary family of podcasts. That tagline was the gag.
We used to have quite a few podcasts,
We did.
You know, over time, people grow, they change.
Not us though, baby.
Not us. With no change here.
That's right. You're static.
I just found like a weird old video game for Pat, and he was super excited about it.
If you think there's going to be character progression, just you wait. We will revert all the decisions in the next movie.
No, we're a 1960s cowboy TV show. We are the same week to week for 30 years.
Put them up, partner.
Didn't Gunsmoke run for like 25 years?
I don't know. Those old shows all have like insane shelf lives, like Gunsmoke and
there's
Columbo.
no reruns. Like they're never a rerun of them.
Yeah. Ah, man, Columbo. I want to watch some Columbo.
Oh, Columbo you could watch. But
Yeah,
Columbo didn't last as long as Gunsmoke. I think Gunsmoke literally ran for 25 years.
I think Columbo ran for like 22 years. So,
no.
Yeah. It did. Yeah. Columbo's like infinite, bro.
Columbo is infinite.
Yeah.
I just got one more question for you, ma'am.
Let's see. So, 1971, 10 seasons. Let's see. Here we go. The air running time. Yeah, blah blah blah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's a weird thing. So how do we count this?
Columbo ran from 1971 to 1977, and then had 2 seasons in 89,
and then one in 1990.
And a bunch of specials in 1990.
What does that count as? It didn't run for that.
You're not saying it correct, Steve. You have to go. I mean, what did it run as? I just got one more question for you, Steve. How would you count all the Columbo weapons?
My wife, you see, she's got an interesting thing when it comes to TV shows. Do you count
my wife? She likes watching Gunsmoke.
Do you count the seasons total? If a show ran one episode in 1970 and then one episode in 1990, is that a 20-year? Does that show run for 20 years?
Oh God, then you'd have something like X-Files, which were when they had that crazy reboot. Yeah, Gunsmoke ran from 1955 to 1975. Welcome to TV Cast.
Well, I mean that was the Western boom though. That time frame, everything was a fucking Western.
Yeah, exactly. It's like how everything's a superhero movie now.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, it was. I think the Western was even more prevalent. But yeah, that's actually a really good comparison.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, hang on a second. I'm gonna grab my cup of coffee here.
Yeah, well, trust me, I'm drinking my coffee right now. I literally just rolled out of bed, and I saw your text and I was like, oh fuck, I never sleep this late anymore. This is amazing. So, cheers to me. My problem is that once again my blood pressure medication makes me wake up at 2 a.m. all the time and pee.
Wonderful.
Yes. I did not last night, and so it was like a gift from the gods. Speaking of the gods,
your Sisyphean task
my
of
Sisyphean
peeing
task.
every morning at 2 in the morning.
That's a punishment. That's not necessarily a gift.
That's true.
In order to understand, one must accept that Sisyphus is happy. Let's talk about Warhammer: The Old World. We finally got some like real news from that, like big news.
Really big news.
Really big news. Let's not do that. That's weird. No, that's weird talk show stuff. Not weird. Weird radio show stuff. Like we're Opie and Anthony all of a sudden.
I thought it was wasn't it I thought that was what's his face, fucking Johnny Carson.
Well,
Really
no,
big
it's Ed Sullivan.
Ed Sullivan.
Yes, but that's like doing what we just did there is something that they would do on a radio like morning show.
Ah, I see.
No, we have the Old World. They've released the faction list.
Yeah.
And there's 9 factions that they're releasing.
Yeah, it was I believe, hang on, I don't want to look. I'm just gonna try and remember off the top of my head. It was dwarves,
See?
high elves,
Yes.
wood elves,
Yes.
Bretonnians,
Yes.
and the Empire.
That is correct for the good side.
Yes, but it's called it's called something. It's called the Empire of Mankind or something, because it's not the
Empire of Man.
Empire of Man. Yes, because the Empire does not exist yet. And then for evil side, you got the Warriors of Chaos,
Yes.
the Beasts of Chaos,
Yes.
the Tomb Kings,
Yes.
the Orcs, and the Goblins.
Yes. You've got them all.
They're all here.
You're like
Chewie.
a Pokemon master. You've caught them all. No, and the Empire does exist. It's just fractured at the point of the Old World where there's 3. It's the time of 3 emperors.
Right.
Yes. So there'll be lots of fun sub-factions for you to build.
Yes, and then of course the Bretonnians.
I'm going to build mine of Guggenheim Slapdick. That's who I'm going to build my Empire force around.
Nice, Guggenheim Slapdick. I like it.
He's going to ride his horse into battle. No, he's going to ride a Pegasus into battle.
Isn't the Guggenheim a musical theater?
No, Guggenheim is a museum.
A museum. Ah, okay.
An art museum. Sorry.
Right on.
Yes, in New York. I think it's a museum of modern art.
Hey, we're in New York looking at modern art.
Hey, well, what's up with this chick? Why is one eye up, one eye down? I don't know. I dated a girl like that back in 12th grade.
How come this statue's got huge knockers? She look at her rack, it's gigantic, but she got no arms.
She got no arms. Hey, whoa,
hey, yo, whoa. Slow it down there, champ.
Yeah. This is crazy news to me because I'm very shocked at the armies that aren't included. For example, Skaven not being included is a big deal to me.
Well, I think but my big thing is when I read it, it definitely seemed like they're planning to do like a story thing, because the way it read, they were like in this, like, I don't know, almost like this chapter, these are the primary factions, because everyone's going to get rules. They did say that as well.
Yeah, they said everybody's getting rules. They said for this one that these are the only armies that are getting released, but I still think that's interesting because
I agree.
Well, the one thing I said is that I find that the stretch to include Tomb Kings in this, but not include Skaven or vampire counts, is very specious at best. Like that argument does not fly for me.
Well, my big thing was I think it's going to be it's the timeline, plus if they're highlighting Bretonnians at this time frame, the Bretonnians and the Tomb Kings were fighting, so
yes.
like it makes sense for that to be
it doesn't make that much sense, and if you know the Old World and like what was actually going on at that time, like if you want to focus on the battle versus chaos, that they were not fighting Tomb Kings at the time.
The Bretonnians were
that was happening off in the corner.
It was both things were happening simultaneously. That's why Bretonnia couldn't bring its full might to help the Empire, because it had to split its forces to fight Cetra.
Yeah, but still, that's a very, very.
I think I think they have a perfect setup, because when they do, I don't know, I hate to use the term season, but when they do season 2, it's going to be Skaven Lizardmen. They're going to be the primary good evil faction.
I don't know. So the reason why I find it weird is because what are the biggest Warhammer video games that have been released? Aside, you have Total War, which has everything.
Vermintide.
and Vermintide, which is very Skaven heavy, and not including the Skaven, I think is interesting to me.
Mhm.
You know, and it's Skaven. They do they're all over the place.
Yeah, the
you know,
Ratmen. The Ratmen don't exist. That's just a farce.
was
That lore is that one piece of lore is something that I've never really gotten, to be honest with you.
what, that Skaven don't exist?
Yeah, that's such an odd, like, it's the Warhammer world. It's like you live in a fucking world where there's dudes with like goat heads like running around at any time, and like people could just spontaneously mutate into horrible monsters, but a rat person can't be real? What?
Well, it's the same thing as if I told you the French don't exist, Steve. Like if I said, Steve, the French don't exist, and you say, yes, they do, and I'll say, I've never met one, I've never seen one.
I see.
I've never been in this mysterious France that you keep talking about.
I guess in that regard it does make sense. Like in like the like our world is 10 out of 10 incredulous. That would require a world that's 11 out of 10 incredulous.
Yeah. I mean, and that's basically what it comes down to. Is the French don't technically exist. So of course they could believe that the Skaven do not exist.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I recant.
Yeah. And then the thing that I thought was going to happen for real is that they were going to include Kislev, ogres, and Nippon.
Yeah, that's the
Or
thing.
Cathay, not Nippon.
Cathay.
Sorry.
Yes. That's the thing that is kind of crazy, because like we know for a fact there's a shit ton of Kislev models being made.
Yeah.
Like we know for a fact they've shown them. Like they're like, they're like, this is the preview stuff. This is like, we know Kislev is a faction that's coming, and we also know Cathay is a faction that's coming. They're both confirmed.
Yeah. Well,
so
with Kislev, they could be like a sub-faction under Empire.
that's what I was thinking. I think like Bretonnians are going to be the only separate human faction. I think all the other factions are going to be rolled into Empire of Man.
I really don't think Cathay will be. I think Cathay is going to
Maybe
be a
not
bigger
Cathay.
thing.
Yeah, Cathay will probably be a huge release because they're probably going to do everything. They're going to do like the big clay statues and stuff. They're a fun faction to play in Total War.
You know what? I just don't like us kowtowing to China. That's all I've been saying, Steve.
Hey, those miniatures are produced in the UK.
And I did find it funny when they were talking about what about the other factions? They list the other factions, but you know what faction they included in that? Chaos Dwarves.
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh yeah, Big Hat Chaos Dwarves coming back.
They're coming back. Their
They're
hats
back,
are going to be
baby.
huge.
Unfortunately, they didn't mention.
Well, in many ways, sir, the Chaos Dwarves never left. They've always offered the same quality meals. What?
Never mind. I thought I forgot something.
Oh, okay. They've offered the same quality meals at competitive prices.
Oh no, Chaos Dwarves. But yeah, so that's like the big news, and I've actually talked to people multiple times about like, oh man, I can't wait to start my old world. I'm gonna go back and fix up my orcs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta rebase my orcs. I'm like, don't do anything. We don't know what the bases look like. We don't know what's happening. Just don't do anything yet.
I just tell people just wait and start a new army.
Yeah. But a lot of people have old shit that they just want to convert up at this point.
Well,
some people like, it's like when they had to put their fantasy army into storage because it was like when the communists took over China and they were destroying all of like the Ming vases during the Cultural Revolution, and people were hiding their shit in their houses, and then they had to wait for it so that they could bring it out again after all that shit went through. That's kind of what it was like. It was like, we're converting to Age of Sigmar. Bring out your old world army, and they're like, no, we don't have any. We threw it out a while ago.
I burned mine on YouTube because I was mad.
Yeah, it's like, no. We know you have it. We know you have it in there. We need to get out here and smash it with a hammer. Nope. Got rid of it. Sold it. It's not here anymore. Before one of those videos got taken down, my comment was one of the top thumbed up comments for that burning vampire counts army. Was it vampire counts? I thought it was dark elf.
There was a vampire counts army. Well, there was probably more than one, because I mean, I'm sure like there were a couple people who were like, ugh. But the burning the vampire counts army, I said I think so. Oh, I was like, someone dumb enough to set fire to that. I'm trying to paraphrase because my own words, but it was someone dumb enough to set fire to that much money is obviously the same type of degenerate who would have a completely unpainted vampire counts army this late in the game. And like I had a million. Well, yeah, I mean, because it was like like an vampire counts army. None of it was painted. It was like, so yeah, it was funny. I got like a bajillion thumbs ups.
What'd you buy with all those thumbs up?
I converted it. So I converted them to Reddit Karma.
As we all know, Reddit Karma is worthless.
I know. I was banking on it becoming worth something, and sure enough, my thumbs up, my valuable thumbs ups were traded for worthless karma.
Is cryptocurrency worth anything again, or is it still worthless?
Oh yeah, no, it's popping back up, baby.
It's back up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. You can get your black market heroin money. So
fucking finally, jeez,
finally. So yeah, the old world. My prediction is next summer is old world release. I'm stoked. I really can't wait. I want to play some fantasy.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and not that Age of Sigmar crap. I want to play square based armies where we have to play for 8 hours in order to get through 2 turns.
Ooh.
I was actually just I built a gaming table. You saw that?
I did see it.
Yeah, and I was laying out some 6th edition armies just to kind of see how it looked on the table and play around, and I was like, this game can't last this long. And I was actually running through some of the scenarios by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this game is way quick when you're not just sitting there like with your thumb up your ass.
Oh, fantasy? Yeah. Fantasy was plenty fast as long as like both players knew what they were doing. It was a pretty fast game.
Exactly. That's what it came down to.
The only times it would be really slow is if you happen to have like a mechanically difficult force like the dwarves. And by mechanically difficult, I mean like the dwarves are just the grinder. Like going to 6 turns with the dwarves is almost a guarantee. Like you're going to go to 6 turns. It's probably going to be a draw. The dwarves aren't going to kill that much of your stuff. You're not going to kill any dwarves. It'll be a miserable time.
A miserable time for all.
Yeah. No, the dwarf player will enjoy it because that's every dwarf game.
That's every dwarf game. This is what I want.
That's right. If you played dwarves for more than one tournament, you knew exactly what you were doing.
So
if you didn't, I always told people whenever they were like, I don't want to lose, I'm like, play dwarves. Like it is very unlikely you'll lose when you're playing dwarves. Now, caveat being, it's also pretty much unlikely that you'll win, but very unlikely you'll lose.
Yeah, I put together that army list for 6th edition just to kind of see it, and I was like, man, this army is boring as fuck for dwarves.
Yeah. They were a snore fest.
All right, and you wanted to talk about CCGs being the new board games on Kickstarter.
Yeah. No, so okay, so when Kickstarter was coming up, so on and so forth. Everything was board games. Yeah, just tons and tons of board games. And there's still board games now, obviously, on Kickstarter. There's a grip of them. But man, the fucking thing now is to do your TCG on Kickstarter.
TCG standing for
trading card game.
Oh, I thought it was the card game.
No. Trading card game. So it's so wild to me that someone would kickstart a trading card game. That is
really why do you think that's weird or odd?
Because it's okay. It's random.
So you're buying packs is what you're buying.
Right. You're buying packs of a game that doesn't exist, but it's a trading card game. So like the trading card games don't have
this is a old school pack game as opposed to I'm buying a box with all the cards game.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's quite literally like buying Magic booster boxes for a game that doesn't exist yet.
I know, but you get what you get with those as opposed to like a card game that you get in all the boxes. You get that nice endorphin rush when you open up packs. You get the pack feel.
Oh, I mean, I know why these games are coming out and being successful and being backed. I know why. It's because everyone's hunting for the new eBay the new eBay flip hotness. Like this game is gonna be the one where I have the box that gets flipped for $6,000 on eBay, because that happened to a couple different card games over 2020.
Really?
Yeah, so they're like, oh, this will be the next one. So that's why it's happening. I'm just surprised that it's just there's so many TCGs on Kickstarter right now. Like a bunch of the recent ones that came out to like the general like distribution, general sale market were from Kickstarters, which is crazy. It's just wild to me that there's like so many people willing to, because normally, you know, when I think Kickstarter, I think like I want to pay X dollars and get an expected product, you know, like, so I want to pay, you know, $35 and I want to get this board game, right? I know it's gonna be that board game. I can you know, the value of my $35 is towards what I'm seeing. You know, it's like what I'm paying is I'm paying for what I can see. With a card game, like in theory, you could order, you know, 6 boxes and get none of the quote unquote valuable cards from this set.
Yeah. I never really understood card game dynamics. I was the type of kid that would just bought them and open them and put them in card sleeves, and it was like, I have a card game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I played a shit ton of Magic when when it was new and came out, like just an absolute fuck ton, and like I loved trading card games, but like I don't know, it's just a weird, it just feels off to me. It's so strange. It's like, you know, like why are you? I don't know, but what is strange? I mean, I guess there's probably plenty of reasons, but there's like, hang on, there's like 1, 2. Hang on, I'm just looking right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, there's I can't keep going. There's more than 25 TCG projects right now.
That's crazy.
It's yeah. That's so wild to me. I mean, and then also
it is pretty wild that number.
Yeah, there's a crazy amount of TCG Kickstarters, which is, I don't know, there just seems to, I don't know, it's just a weird trend. Like, and it just makes less sense to me than the board game boom of the original Kickstarter thing, because like, you know, it's like, yeah, okay, there's a shit ton of board games, like that makes sense. And board games are also like, you're gonna ostensibly buy it once, and like, yeah, you're done.
Yeah, and I think judging by what I've seen lately at used bookstores, the amount of Kickstarters that are getting turned in has been pretty high.
Yeah, I can see that.
I've recently just saw that a full collection of Hate. Remember Hate?
Oh wow, yeah. Damn. What a throwback.
Yeah. That's my thing too. It's like, though, I just don't have a room for Kickstarters and for all these board game Kickstarters. There's some that I like that I've seen, but lately with board games, I've been kind of wanting to do a little bit more streamlined. I don't like it with all of the components and all that bullshit.
I got the War of the Ring, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. But that's what I'm seeing with Kickstarters. Like, in order to get your Kickstarter funded, you got to have like a ton of shit with your game, and I don't want a ton of shit anymore. I want it more stripped down and simple.
Yeah, that was one of the. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because that's the exact reason why I'm actually like kind of looking at that Metal Gear Solid board game.
Oh.
Specifically because, you know, when I see a board game, I'm like, ugh, there's gonna be fucking like 800 bajillion fucking figures in there. Like, I don't want to fuck with that. But Metal Gear Solid, there's only like 20 pieces. So that I was kind of like, all right. I mean, and one of those is a giant Metal Gear, which is very cool.
It's a giant Metal Gear.
Yeah. So that made me like, oh, no, that might be something I'd be willing to pick up, because it's only, you know, 20 figures. Because I was, you know, when I heard there was the Bloodborne one, I was like, oh, that might be cool. And then I just looked at how many little guys were in the Bloodborne board game boxes, and I was just like, you know, maybe I won't be. I won't be buying the Bloodborne board game.
There you go. And you know, it's weird. And then you have the fun things, which are the clones of the successful games that are on Kickstarter, which are like, no, this is like that one you were showing me, the clone.
Yeah. The 1-to-1 clone of Kingdom Death.
Kingdom Death. That's right.
Yeah. It looks, you could have, if you took the name of this game off the box and put Kingdom Death on there, I'd have been like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's a new Kingdom Death.
Yeah. And it's I was looking at the rules in the rule book for it, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me, so I'm not going to buy this game. But yeah, oh yeah, the little it's not bad for the Metal Gear Solid. There's a lot of shit in there, but there's only like 20 figures maybe.
Yeah, most of the stuff seems to be like tracking because there's like the game seems to be about like managing this like little card,
32
like a little
figures.
like a little data card.
Yeah.
And the most of the components seem to be for tracking stuff on said data card.
And you just want to be able to do it and get it so you can say snake.
Snake. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh yeah, I really the only things I do with Kickstarter now are 3D printing stuff. So it's so I don't really pay too much attention to board games anymore. Since I moved, I figured out I don't have that much room for board games anymore.
Yeah, I've been what was my most recent one? I mean, I got burned on that Studio X thing. Call of Cthulhu Classic. That was the most recent one I bet.
Oh yeah, well that's different though. That's what Kickstarter should be for.
Call of Cthulhu Classic and just Call of Cthulhu Classic.
Something unusual. I mean, it's from an established company that doesn't really need to use Kickstarter, but it's something fun that they were like, we could release this. But if we do it through Kickstarter, we're going to get more people on top of it, and it's this nice thing. So, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, and then man, what a baller fucking box set.
Yeah.
I know we talked about it already, but man, I was just looking at it the other day. Oh, man, it's like talk about it like a generous production, really. Like the price, like I mean, it was $100, and I can't believe it was only $100. There's just so much shit in there. If you can get that box, I don't know if that box set is available. Like,
I think it is. I think you can buy it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, really, like if you're even remotely interested in Call of Cthulhu, you should buy that box set. Like, you absolutely should. Like that should be part of your collection as fast as you can make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm mad that I didn't get Horror on the Orient Express when they were putting it out.
Yeah, same. Missed that.
I mean, whatever. It was actually early, I think, in Kickstarter's life. I want to say. I think it was. It said, okay, here it is, 2017. So
yeah,
that's pretty early in the whole Kickstarter thing. Not too early.
No.
And yeah, I missed that, and I'm very sad that I missed that. It was expensive though. I think it was like $200 maybe.
It is pricey.
Oh no, it wasn't that bad. It was $90.
Oh well, damn.
I know.
Salt in the wound.
We're salt in the wound, man. Salt in the wound. They had all this fun stuff. You could have got an Orient Express coffee mug, Steve.
And
yeah, and a luggage tag.
Ooh, a luggage tag.
Mm-hmm. And a T-shirt that says "I play RPGs."
Does it really just say "I play RPGs"?
No, but I bet you if we should create that. That would be.
We should absolutely just make a shirt that just says "I play RPGs" in Comic Sans.
In Comic Sans. Oh no, we failed. Oh, speaking of Kickstarters, something I did want to talk about, and I missed this in the last few podcasts. It was something that's been bugging me for a while. Not bugging me, but it's just something that I find interesting. Is there are more and more legitimate miniatures companies turning their files into digital files and turning their figures into digital files, and offering them digitally as opposed to physical copies like we're used to. Now, in the past, it's always been you had the companies, the old school companies always just put out their physical figures. And the newer companies have been doing digital so that you could just print your own. And now some of these older companies are actually switching to digital. And I think the one that really kind of shocked me was that Mantic is doing it now.
Yeah, Mantic surprising. The other one that I thought was crazy surprising was Mears.
Yeah. Well, Mantic is doing their own version of a Kickstarter. I don't think it's an actual, they're not doing it through, not Kickstarter, Patreon. But they're not actually doing it through Patreon, I believe. They're doing it through their own thing and their own website. They're calling it Mantic Vault. And what they put up there was a bunch of their ships from their boat game, Armada. And I'm like, Oh,
Yeah.
these are really cool looking.
Yeah, oh, dude, I love like so like I said, I mean everyone has their opinions on Mantic when they first came out, and I'll agree some of their sculpts were pretty sus when they were new, but like the current Mantic stuff is really good. Like their 40k Skaven are awesome. Their fantasy Skaven are also awesome. Like their fantasy Skaven are really good. If I end up just throwing it out there, if I end up doing a Warhammer Fantasy Old World Skaven army, I will probably be using the Mantic Skaven because I really like them.
I would be using the actual GW Skaven, but that's only because I have boxes of GW.
I was like, because you already have it.
Yeah, the Skaven were always the one that people were really eager to dump. And so I was always just like, yeah, I'll pick it up for $20. No problem. And I get like literally a box full of Skaven.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, and I see that those dwarf ships are fucking badass too.
Yeah, I mean it's all really pretty stuff. I'm just shocked that they were that this is what they've moved to.
I don't think so. So here's my opinion on this, and this is what I think this is why I think this is very smart and not too surprising to me is 3D printing is like 3D printing is big, like, but well, maybe I don't know, big's the right word. 3D printing is like the trend. We'll say that. The trend is going to 3D printing. So, but there's still an absolute shit ton of people who are buying minis, like a fuck ton. I mean, Warhammer still sells fucking gangbusters. Like it sells like, people complain about the price, whatever, but like Warhammer stuff is like always in demand. So, it's a huge market, even with 3D printing being where it is. But as Mantic and any other company, you can still sell your models and then also double dip and sell the 3D files, because someone who's buying your figures is not going to not buy your figure because they have the 3D version. The idea, like, I think the idea is like mentally what I'm thinking is like, I have 5 guys who play my game. 2 of them are 3D printers. 3 of them buy the figures. The 3D printer guys aren't giving me any money, period. The 3 guys buying are buying my figures and giving me money. If I release the 3D files, the 3 guys buying will not change their habits. I'm not going to lose any money from releasing those files because those 3 guys are going to keep buying because they're already buying my figures. They aren't 3D printer guys yet, or maybe never will be. Now the 2 3D printer guys, they go, oh, I'm playing this game with my friends who buy the figures. I'll buy these. I will pay for these 3D files. So now I've turned 2 $0 players into 2 customers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think what's interesting to me, right? This is like a business model I was thinking of, is I don't have a ton of shelf space, correct? In my gaming store. I have to have my shelf space for Games Workshop. I have to have my shelf space for Magic, right? Pokemon, a ton of card games. I have to have board game space. So I don't have a ton of room for like all of those Null Zerm blisters.
Yeah.
Right?
There's so many of those.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy 2 to 3 3D printers, right? They're about $300 each. So I'm going to spend $1,000. I'm going to get 3 of them. What I'm going to offer my customers, I'm going to buy into, let's say, 3 or 4 Patreons. And I'm going to buy their printer level, like their distributor level that they have, which is kind of funny if you ask me, but that's a different story altogether. And once I have that, then I'm going to offer these minis to my customers, and I'm going to give them a print on demand sort of thing. It's like, hey, do you have any models for kobolds? Yeah, I do. I have them right here. You open up the page, you show them there. It's like, you want these, they'll be ready in 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then the person will pay you for them, and then you print them out, and then they're ready to go.
Dude,
right?
if I owned a game store, I would have invested into like 30 3D printers by now, and I would be selling, like, in my display case, there would be just a bunch of 3D printed models for sale that I printed myself that I'm selling.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny part to me, because there's like, well, you have to buy a license to print them. It's like, do I?
Do I really? Yeah. Do I really?
Yeah. It's like, no, yes, you have to. That's one of the things that makes me laugh is like on I 3D print Titans, right? For 40K. And I'm on a couple groups that are like 3D Titan printer groups. And they're like, and a person would occasionally be there like, hey, I have this available. I can print this for X amount of money. And then people will be like, do you have a license to print this? And they're like, no, I don't have a license to print this file that was ripped off of Games Workshop. Or Star Wars figures. It's like, No, I don't have a license to print these figures that were obviously ripped off of another IP, and the person isn't paying anything to sculpt these IPs.
Yes. Oh, I saw some Shitter Point minis. I didn't know that they were actually plastic.
Yeah, well, I was gonna go over that in a little bit. Yeah, I wanted to go over, but I just wanted to finish it up because we'll finish up on this topic and then move on to the Star Wars stuff. The Mears has done it as well, and Mears, as we all know, has some really high quality figures that are very beautiful sculpts, but they're expensive, and they always have been expensive.
Yeah, outrageously expensive.
They did wonderful looking Beastmen figures, alternative Beastmen. They're Skaven. They have some like really cool Skaven character models. But now they've moved to an actual Patreon model and are selling stuff, and their stuff is just as high quality. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's really good.
And pennies on the dollar for the actual cost of the
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, especially compared to their standing price.
Yeah, which don't get me wrong, their figures are always gorgeous and have always come out like with incredibly high production value.
Oh yeah, their sculpts are fucking top notch. I'd definitely put them in like contention for top 1 sculpts. Really.
Yeah,
they're that. I truly think they are that good.
Yeah, and then they also have War Games Atlantic has moved to digital. And as you know, War Games Atlantic is kind of like a cheapo.
Yeah, that one is the one that where my idea was like exactly like where I thought of that idea, because like they were already cheap, and I'm like, why would a company that already had like was selling inexpensive figures, and I was like, oh wait, because they're trying to turn people who don't buy anything from them into someone who's buying their 3D files.
Yeah, and it's not like there's any that's what I'm looking for. There's no like rhyme or reason to their Kickstarter, to their Patreon either. It's like they'll be like, all right, here's a bunch of old school fantasy cultists, and then we're gonna give you some seven years war, Prussian.
it's probably just my guess is it's probably chronological on whatever people are working on.
Yeah, I guess in their thing or whatever they're working on, it's weird. Like they're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna give you some conversion parts for your Anglo-Saxons, we're gonna give you some pirates and some Ottoman noble admirals. That's literally what came out in May. I was looking. Oh, and some World War I Sea Dogs themed set.
Sea Dogs.
I'm just like, what? But they're very nice, and they work very well. You get a Russell Crowe figure from Master and Commander.
Oh, finally, I can have my own Russell Crowe in my pocket.
Yeah, and I'm all for it. I like it. I like it a lot. But that's like the type of thing that a game store would really benefit from. Right? Like, you want some pirate figures? Here you go. Boom! I could get you these for. It'll take 4 hours, and it'll cost you $10 for this whole tray.
Yeah, I would do that too. I mean, that's it. Like that would be my thing. If I was doing a game store, I would have just a case of figures that I've already printed that are ready to go, and then the same thing. The back room is full of 3D printers, and you can be like, yeah, what do you want? Oh, you want a kobold? Cool. Yeah, I've got these kobolds here.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, how I would do it, because I'm not a greedy person, but that's also a reason why I'm not in business for myself, is I would charge because when you create a 3D print, it tells you how much money in resin it will cost. So I would take that cost plus a flat tray cost that would cost for like per hour that a print. So if you want something that's going to cost it's going to take like 8 hours to print, it's going to cost more than something that's going to take 4 hours to print, because it's more print time that you can't print something else.
Right.
So that's how I would do it. So like a tray full, and you could fit it on a nice size printer, like 20 figures.
You could also
like a flat fee for that.
You could also use the fact that Hero Forge lets you do your will sell you the STL of your mini.
Yeah.
So because they will sell you the STL mini, you could easily be like, yeah, print your D&D character here.
Exactly. All right, let's pause here and then we'll come back.
All right.
Yeah, and I think that's like what you said with the Hero Forge or whatever.
Yeah,
that's like a fantastic idea, and I haven't seen a single game store do anything remotely like that.
Nope.
And I think it's because most game stores don't really focus on the D&D. There is one game store in our area that does focus on D&D quite a bit, and they would be the perfect people to do it, but they're more focused on building escape rooms at this point, which are probably makes more money. So
yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, the getting back to your shitter point, yeah, the figures are terrible.
Are they?
Yeah. Oh, they're awful. I can't believe how bad those figures are and look.
Really? I didn't think they looked that bad.
Oh my God, the heads are so tiny.
Yeah, because they're true scale.
Yeah, but that's the reason why things aren't true scale. It's because if things are true scale, they don't look good.
No, people like that stuff. People, that's why. I mean, hell, the entire Infinity brand sells on that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the figures look fine. I mean, and I'm a Star Wars hater, but I think the figures look fine.
Oh, see, I disagree completely. And I also think that there's only like 6 people playing Affinity right now. And they're all dying slowly of emphysema.
Affinity?
Yeah, of Infinity.
Oh, Infinity.
Yeah.
I heard Affinity, and I was like, what?
It's just my accent.
It's the accent.
Yeah. The shitter point came out. It's I think it's this weekend, I think is the release date.
Yeah, no, it's out now. You can buy it now. No, my big thing was that I was pleased to see that they're plastic because I thought they were those
Rustic.
No, the worse than rustic, that like rubbery PVC, the real bendy shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's like the resin plastic, right?
I thought it was just a PVC. I thought it was like a flat because rustic's hard. That like rubbery shit is not. The stretchy stuff is just not. I don't know. Whatever it is, it fucking sucks and I hate it. So yeah. So there's that. So I was pleased to see that they are actual on sprues.
Yeah. So
I mean,
they're on
good.
sprues. They're like what's the size on them? Are they like 36 millimeter or something like that?
42. They're
42s.
big. Yeah, they're big.
Yeah. The game, if you actually look at the ratings for it that have been coming out recently, not doing so well. It's only like at like a 7.0, which is not terrible. But I think a lot of that is your favorite. I only play Star Wars games.
I only play
players.
Star Wars games.
Yeah, it's Star Wars, so it has to be good.
Speaking of Hero Forge, I'm absolutely I'm outraged that you cannot opt to get genitalia on your figure. That's ridiculous.
You know what? I'm with you on that one.
Like,
you know
why
what?
can't I want my centaur to have a giant horse cock? Like, what the hell?
Well, will the centaur have a horse cock or a human cock? Like, or will it have both, like a centaur cock in the back and a human cock in the front?
So here's I've got a thing. So I think if they have a human dong, it's like it's on the front half. So like it's like it would be like if you like it's where like a wiener would not be on a horse but would be on a human. So I think that's what they look like if they got the human dong. And I think and my hot take is that some centaurs have the horse dong where a horse is, and then the other ones have a human dong where the human dong is. See, and that determines on who you hook up with, and that continues like see, so if you use your human dong to bang a human and you're a centaur, then the baby's just a regular person. See what I'm saying?
Yes. I like this tangent, but I'm going to move on to Star Wars.
Centaur dicks.
Centaur dicks.
It's always relevant.
But yeah, most of the ratings are complaining about pricing because the price of the game is outrageous.
It's very expensive. Sure.
I think like your expansion packs. Which one was I had the tab open just to talk about it. The Hello There squad pack. This game is very memeified. This game obviously went on prequel memes, everything after prequel memes.
You know what? And looking at the recent HeroClix figures, everything is memeified now, Joe.
Memes.
Yes, everything is memes now.
Yes, they're all corporate memes.
No, well, they weren't, and now they are.
Now they are. So the Hello There squad pack, which is 4 figures, is retailing for $50 on Amazon. That's a little high, if you ask me.
It's pricey.
The Shatterpoint core set is $164.99. Not terrible, but that's also pretty high for just coming with, I think, like 17 figures.
Yeah, it's pricey.
Or 20 figures, let's just say, because some of the multi-figures on one base. That game should probably be $125. I'm just pointing that out there. But it's Star Wars, so you got to deal with the Star Wars license.
It's true. There's going to be extra price because of that.
Yeah, and they have you could buy the terrain set, which is called the high ground terrain set, once again, memified.
Yes.
So if you want to play it, it looks interesting. The game mechanics are similar to Arena Rex in some ways. It's similar. It's supposed to be squad-based game. There's some back and forth on whether it has a good squad feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. When I was watching it being played, I was like, whatever. I just don't like the dice. Is basically what it comes down to.
Yeah. Again, it looks fine, but also, yeah. I mean, I hate special dice. I'm not a big fan of the old special dice. But I in games where you roll, I don't know how many dice you're going to roll on average in Shatterpoint, but like
it's not many.
Warhammer,
It's a very small amount of dice.
Okay, that's good because what I've been doing lately is I've been using a dice roller for Age of Sigmar, and man, woo, it's great.
You know, I'm not with you on that. I can't do a dice roller. I got to have a dice feel to it.
Oh no, man! If I'm rolling a fucking bucket of dice, the dice roller, I have a feeling that over enough time, if I get everyone playing with me to use dice rollers, I think we would be saving like an hour or more of games of just rolling dice.
I see. But that's the thing is like what I love about it. I love dice feel. I like that there's a dice god, and if you use that dice roller, you're not getting blessed by the dice god.
No, I'm getting blessed by the tech spirit.
The tech spirit, yeah. I don't think that they care as much.
Probably not.
I'm just letting you know that you're probably upsetting the dice god more than anything.
Well, the dice god's always shit on my chest for my entire life, so fuck them.
Please, your dice rolls are far better than mine.
Oh, dude, I'm the sole person who rolled 14 ones on Great Unclean One at Adepticon. Okay,
that's true.
Save.
You did do that.
That was bad. I always say my luck for shit that matters is the worst. When it doesn't matter, I have insane luck.
Oh yeah, for sure. So let's shift gears a little bit. I wanted to talk about yet another Warhammer YouTuber coming out as kind of a shitlord.
Being exposed
not a
as a
shitlord. He's not a shitlord. He's a he's a pedo, but is there a proper internet term for that, or is it just pedo?
It is pedo. That's it.
Yeah, the what's his face? String Storm. I don't follow. So one thing that our listeners just have to understand is I'm an elder millennial. I was born in 1981. I don't watch YouTube people. I don't care about YouTube people. Most people I see on YouTube, I think are terrible. So like when someone says like this YouTube person turns out to be horrible, I'm like, A, I'm not surprised, and B, I have no idea who this person is.
Yeah, I only know VTubers.
Yes, you know your VTubers, and I won't make fun of VTubers because I don't think enough people watch VTubers as opposed to YouTubers for it to make a difference. I think it's
the audience disparity is pretty massive.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the YouTubers like some of these YouTubers have billions of followers, and I don't know why. But we were talking off on the cast, and you think that it's an absolute power equals absolute corruption.
Any power, I think it's any power in having a community of like because then you have power disparity. Because as soon as you get power disparity, you get like because that's the thing too is none of these YouTubers, well not none, but most of these big YouTubers are early 20s guys.
Early what? I'm sorry.
Early 20s. The guys in their early 20s. So they're guys in their early 20s who suddenly have a fucking fandom, and they're not emotionally developed, and suddenly there's girls who are like interested in talking to them, and there's a power dynamic at play where that girl wants them to like them because that girl is their fan. So then immediately you've got this guy who's going to take that situation and exploit it because it's like, oh, I can get laid because this girl is my fan.
I get that. I think there's an aspect to my theory that works for that. Here's what my feeling is that all celebrities are like that, period.
Yeah, it's anyone.
Level of celebrity is like that. The difference is that in old Hollywood, which I grew up with, you grew up with mostly. You're only a few years younger than I am.
Yeah, only a couple. So
yeah, which existed up until about the time of the internet. Is that everybody had an agent and a manager who would take care of a lot of this shit so that we never heard about it.
Yep. And also would prevent them from doing things like going on Twitter and like using racial slurs.
Yeah. Or, going onto My Little Pony forums and seducing a 14-year-old.
Yes, also that.
Yeah. So this guy, Stringstorm is his name, right? He makes music for I guess just 40K stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd never heard of him.
I never heard of him either. And I was just like, when it came out, I was like, they were like, another fucking person. And usually what we're used to dealing with is people coming out as like right-wing assholes. Right?
Yeah, like they're like, it's like, oh yeah, it turns out that guy's like house is covered in swastikas. Whoops.
Yeah. But this guy, like, he was even worse. He like seduced a 14-year-old on a My Little Pony fan board or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was pretty cringe.
What would happen in old Hollywood is there would be people that would A, cover it up, B, mitigate the damage, and C, get these people out of the limelight.
Mm-hmm.
None of that works anymore, right?
Yes. Well, also, I mean, it might work, but these people don't have agents.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's like there's people who don't do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things is like a lot of the people we liked in old Hollywood were probably awful shitlords.
Oh, I don't even think there's a probably. I guarantee it.
Yeah, but everyone just covered it up. And here's the difference, Steve. Here's the difference is that I grew up not realizing that the people I liked were shitlords. And so I didn't want to emulate them in a way that makes me a shitlord. So like some person who's like, I really like Stringstorm, he did this and he's not receiving any issues from it. So it's okay to seduce a 14-year-old.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, because if Patrick Stewart came out to be like a gigantic shitlord when I was growing up, there was no such thing as Patrick Stewart. There was just Captain Picard.
Yeah.
So I could emulate Captain Picard. I could not emulate Patrick Stewart. I don't know what Patrick Stewart was doing. I only know what Captain Picard was doing.
Yeah. It's and if Patrick Stewart was that big of a shitlord, he would have been written off the show and replaced.
Yes.
Yeah, there would be no issue with that. Like he would just be gone because Hollywood wouldn't deal with it.
Right.
And so that's why you have people like that. And so when you have YouTube, there's no one holding these people accountable for anything. And that's why you have people like Arch who are still making videos and people are still watching them because they just don't care.
Right. Well,
there's no reputation or no brand.
Right. There's no responsibility, and there's also no responsibility for the platform. That's one of the big, I mean, I'm certain that's got to be one of the big things with internet law and stuff right now is what is it? What the fuck's the broadcasting standards company in America or faction in America? The
like standards and not standards and practices.
No,
like the FCC.
FCC. Yes. So there's no FCC for the internet.
Yeah.
For YouTube. So there's no one to hold anyone accountable other than, the platform removing the content. So like if I have a small channel that I've been uploading for, I don't know, years, just like gore, violence, racist stuff, just the worst shit, like no one is going to stop that. No one's going to stop that from appearing in the first place. Yeah. And the only way it gets taken off is if the platform provider goes, "Oh, we're not going to host this content."
Yeah, and that's very rare that happens.
Right. You have to be like you have to be excessively reported to get anything. And then of course, because there's so much information out there, it's an immediately exploitable system. So the vast majority of people you can get, like with the brigade, you can get a completely benign channel flagged and banned and stuff because you just have so many people reporting the channel as not good. So the bot just automatically turns the channel off. It's like, oh, there's so many people reporting this. It's clearly true. I'll disable the channel for now. And then, you have legit channels just getting attacked people. And then you have these like horrible channels that are getting reported, but not in the mass volume that the, campaigned ones are being reported. So then they don't get taken off. It's crazy. And there's also like, there really is no, as someone who followed a lot of various people getting demonetized, so on and so forth, like back on Twitter and stuff, like there's no, like on Twitch and so on and so forth, there's no actual rules. Like they say there are rules, but they don't apply them like evenly. And this was really bad with Twitch. Twitch got so bad. What was happening is there were people sending huge like armies of bots to Twitch chats, just spamming like the worst shit. And
Yeah,
Twitch was shutting the channels down.
Well, and that goes to like, well, I think was Raza was talking about advertising with us and stuff like that. It's like I don't really do advertising too much because for multiple reasons. One, I always forget to do the advertisements.
Yes.
Which is the biggest part of it. I never want to accept someone's money and then forget to do what I took the money for.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's part of the reason why I've never really monetized the podcast is because I don't want to be beholden to anything. I like swearing and being a jerk and not caring about things. And
yeah, and having absolutely like ridiculous opinions that we don't ever need to back up because our word is law.
yeah, it's that meme with the wrestling with the chairs. Like, look, I understand we're trying to come to a middle ground here, but that's not what I want. I want you to pick up a chair and go ham.
Yeah, pick up a chair and hit someone.
Yeah, that's what this podcast is about. It's about our insane, out of left field theories and opinions.
Yes.
like there is no middle ground with us. It's like Shitter Point could be a good game, but you know what? We've already made up our minds that it's terrible, and it doesn't matter.
It's a Star Wars game. I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Actually, say it's a licensed miniatures game. I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. So it's like, Raza, we're free. We'll talk about your game. We'll talk about your minis, and we'll give you the free advertisement on our platforms. But it's like, well, we usually don't do too much in terms of advertising.
Yeah, you can go to www.paymastergames.com/t-shirts, and you can get some cool Paymaster Games t-shirts with art that they can't use for their game, but they can use for t-shirts. There's some good stuff. There's some kitty D&D characters. So like there's a monk and there's a rogue, which is very cute. And then also a big fan of the slime with the bomb. Just says I'm unstable. It looks like it's a classic like DQ slime. Very cool. Big fan. But there you go. So there's the free advertisement. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of shirts on there. They're cute. They're cute. They're $20. You know, normal shirt price.
They are very Steve shirts.
Yeah,
I will admit. I haven't seen you in like 4 years, but seen you in person in 4 years, but these are the type of shirts that Steve would generally wear. So on that, actually, because we have some comments from our listeners and our free content board. They did want us to talk about Shinentai. Is that something from animes? Is that an anime, Steve? Is that from Japanimation?
Shinentai. I mean, it could be. So it's not anything I'm familiar with.
Yeah. Wanted us to. They did. So Games Workshop did create a Legends list. Legends list is basically when they're saying we're not going to be supporting any of these models in our new game, in our new edition. So a lot of people are very upset about it. The Legions and Legends on the Warhammer, it's mostly a Forge World stuff. And
yeah, I for like when I first thought, I thought they were doing what they did with Age of Sigmar, where they actually like vaulted minis rules.
Yeah,
like, but it's all heresy stuff. So yeah, you can't use heresy stuff in new 10th edition. Who cares?
Yeah, it's like, well, you can't use these for competitive games like in tournaments, but you could use them in your friendlies. And this is kind of the way I look at it. It's that Games Workshop has to cut out a lot of shit out of their rule books because they have so much shit. Part of the problem with 7th edition 40K was there was so much shit in 7th edition Space Marines that you can't make the game work.
Right.
Some of the stuff is just going to be terrible, and then you're going to have people who are going to be pissed about that. It's better to just take them out of the game than to try and come up with making them an interesting competitive unit.
Right.
The fact that they're still including Firstborn Space Marines in 40K to me is insane. Like, you need to just move on to Primaris at this point.
Yes. Heresy.
Heresy. And Horus Heresy is a fantastic game. And if you want to use your Horus Heresy models, just play Horus Heresy because the game is really good.
There you go. You could play Horus Heresy with those
It's
models.
not really good. It's just good and fun. It's a classic GW game.
Yeah, I mean,
no GW game is good.
No, I would say no GW is really good. You have to. I would say some are good, for sure.
Yes, it's true. I will stick by and say that probably the best GW game that they have out right now is Warcry.
Warcry is, or actually, you know what I'd say about Warcry is actually really good.
Yeah, Warcry is probably the most fun
yeah.
game that Games Workshop has out, and I'm mad at myself for not playing it more.
I'm still a huge fan of AOS. I think AOS is still great.
Yeah, I mean, but Warcry, it's like I'm only putting together 10 models, Steve.
Yeah, well, you know, that's why I'm really like I'm so eyeballing Path to Glory for Age of Sigmar. I'm like, I kind of just want to play a shit ton of Path to Glory for this game.
But you got to find someone to play Path of Glory with.
Right? Yeah, I'm thinking maybe Giuseppe and Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, they can play. Yeah, you guys can come over and play on my new table.
But I have a table.
I know, but my table's better.
My table's better because it's at my house.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's kind of what it is on that. It's the legacy stuff is not. I really don't see it as being an issue. They just don't want to unbalance what they have for 40K by adding in a bunch of stuff that Forge will just slap dashes together. Right.
I mean, and if people are mad they can't use it in 10th edition because they were busted units or whatever in 40K, well, okay, too bad. Your units got banned because of competitiveness.
And Shinentai also asks about recommendations for snow effects to go in bases. Lots of different options available. And I will answer this one in that it really all depends on the effect that you want to get with snow. Do you want like deep snow, like crystallized, like deep snow that looks like the person's in the wilds of Canada type of snow, or or what's a movie that would have deep snow like that? Like
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. There you go. I was gonna say the later seasons of Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, they'll do that.
Yeah. My tip for doing that is you take the snow and you put it in a small cup, right? And then you add white glue to it. And then you get it to a point where it's not too snow heavy. It's like got to be a perfect medium between the two. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of just glop it onto the base in like a big like blobs, so to speak. And you kind of layer it. You only need to do like 1 or 2 layers for it to work that way. But you got to get it that perfect mix of where it's like not too liquidy and not too solid. It's got to be kind of like a weird plasma sort of thing. And that'll give you some nice deep crystallized snow. I did a couple models like that. There are other techniques I would really look at, and we were talking about that on the forum. I think someone else was talking about pin washes being the same thing. I don't remember what board that was on.
I don't remember. One of the boards.
One of the boards. Channels. And someone was talking about like a dad walking into a hobby shop and being like, what's all this? You don't have Warhammer models, but this is so cool. There's weathering powders and pin washes. If you really want to know how to paint stuff that looks cool and like real worldy, you got to look at how people do historical models. That's what it comes down to. Mm. And it's also really funny because these people do these wonderful historical models of these tanks with all this grime and rust on it. And then you realize that in World War II, tanks never lasted long enough to get rusty or grimy. They would get blown up immediately.
It's true. For brands, I actually would recommend the Army Painter Battlefield Snow.
I would not.
I think the Army Painter Battlefield Snow is quite good.
I don't recommend Army Painter unless they start supporting us through advertising. Then I'll probably support them.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the Army Painter Battlefield Snow. That one's good. In all honesty, though, if you want the actual if you want some really interesting and good results for snow, you should kind of use a combination of a different, because different companies have different types of snow. Yeah. So like the Army Painter Battlefield Snow is a bit bigger and less powdery, so like it's got a really frosted effect for the snow. But then if you combined it with I think Woodland Scenics, I think that Woodland Scenics is a really powdery snow blend. If you were to combine it with,
that's the one I generally will use.
Yeah, Woodland Scenics one's really good too as well, but it's because it's a very powdery snow blend. So if you combine the two, you get an incredibly good realistic looking snow that just looks very natural. I really like the combination. So that would be my suggestion to you. Is I would combine Army Painter and Woodland Scenics snow to get yourself a very realistic looking snow pile.
No, I agree with that. There's lots of cool techniques, and that's actually something that I would recommend YouTube for. Is that some of these modelers have done some really nice stuff with snow. But once again, you have to look at what are you using it for? Because if you're using the snow techniques for certain like gaming models, don't, because it will not stay. It's going to get rubbed off and everything else and knocked off and all that fun stuff. A lot of times these techniques are designed around creating something and putting it on a shelf and never touching it again.
Yeah, for display only.
Yeah, and that's what it was. Moose Rakish, longtime listener, talking about. I was listening to a podcast by some casual middle-aged gamer dads, and one of them went to a hobby shop, and it was like scale modelers, and he was like, they don't have any war game minis, but they have so many paints and weathering effects, and it's crazy. Yeah, it's that's what I say. And he was like, where do you think oil painting, pin washes, and wearing pigments came from? And all three of those that he mentioned are horrendous techniques to use in miniatures.
Yes, but they get discovered because they look cool, and they're like, I'm going to use these on my miniatures. And it's someone who just paints models, so they do it, and they put their model on the shelf, and they're like, oh, it looks great. And then someone who plays with their model tries it, and they're like, what's happening?
My fingers are rubbed. All the oil painting. Like, there's ways of making it permanent on your model. Like there's a lot of different what's the word I'm looking for? Not finishers, but like
overcoats,
like urethanes and everything else that you could spray on your models. Like, overcoats. Yeah, like weathering powder I use a lot, but you have to spray your model with isopropyl alcohol after it's on so that the stuff hardens on there and won't come off. And even if you do that, it will still come off eventually.
Yes.
Like pin washes, the way that people have done pin washes in the past is generally with oil effects.
Yeah.
So it's like you could do it now with contrasts and it looked just as good. Which
it's not, then I wouldn't even call it a pin wash because you could touch it.
Yes. And people who use oil-based paints for miniatures should be kicked out of the hobby. They should be drummed out like fucking the Starship Troopers when they kick out Johnny Rico, killing that guy in the live fire. That's what it should be. Like, we should take these people who use oil-based paints on their minis, have them kneel with their hands tied to posts, flog them, then make them walk out of the hobby.
They have to take the lashes and then the banishment.
Yes, that's the way it goes.
Rico's Roughnecks. Yeah. Oh man, that movie's so good.
It is really good. I love Starship Troopers.
And Paul Verhoeven's a fucking genius.
Yeah, he is. He was unfairly maligned for some of his movies. I think he was very much ahead of his time.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, even Striptease is ahead of its time. So I love that movie. It's so bad.
I've never seen Striptease.
You've never seen Striptease?
No.
Not even as a curious teen?
No, because I was already watching hardcore pornography by that point.
It's true. But I watched it. It's silly. It's definitely a silly movie, and I think it was very, very unfairly maligned. I think it's a fun, campy movie.
Yeah, well, sometimes you catch critics on an off day and they all hate your movie.
Yeah, that's true too. I think people fly too close to the sun, and people want to take them down.
I'm going to agree with you on that.
What was that? I was thinking about someone the other day who was like really on the top of their game, and then everyone just shit. Oh, Janet Jackson. Like, Janet Jackson on top of her game has that issue with the Super Bowl, and then everyone hated Janet Jackson forever. And it's like, that was so unfair. And I think it was just because Janet Jackson was so popular that people just wanted to take her down a peg.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah. But aside from that, let's see. Was there anything else? Because I know I was looking at mostly that on the pin vices and stuff like. Oh, it was about the snow. That was the last thing.
Yeah. The snow.
Watch some videos online. There's some really cool stuff. Like, you could take what's it called? Ardcoat. I don't know if GW still makes Ardcoat.
They do, but they don't call it Ardcoat. They call it something else.
No, do they call it like Griznob's Jids?
Griznob's
Take some
Jids.
Griznob's Jizz and you do like little puddles inside the snow, and it makes it look like the snow is melting. Really cool technique.
Yeah, good stuff.
And I would rather watch that than watch some guy explaining 40K lore, and then at the end saying, "Oh, and as always, hail Hitler." Like that sort of shit.
Yes, yes, indeed.
All right, so he's in here with me. My dog was in my room. Sorry.
Oh.
So anyway, we're running out of time. So you could go to. Do you have anything you want to talk about before we?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so go to the Game Classy Facebook page. Is the best way to find the link to our Game Classy Discord, where we actually have some good discussions. I think I've never been more engaged with our listeners, and I like it more because I get to chime in and say like the one-liners that you usually will do, which is more, like where it says, "Yeah, that game is poo." And I could just leave it at that. I feel like on Discord, I'm the epitome of the guy who walks in, states my opinion, offers no other explanation, and then walks out.
And then leaves.
Yeah. Like it comes down to the chair theory. It's like, no, I'm just throwing my chair at you and you're just gonna have to deal with it.
We're getting chaired.
It's the Discord. Also, you can help us support the podcast by comment, and subscribing on the iTunes, or comment, subscribing on the YouTubes.
Oh yeah, and also 2 p.m. Central on Saturdays. There is an open invitation to anyone who wants to join an Immortal Empires Warhammer Total War 3 campaign.
If their computer can handle it.
Yes, if your computer can handle it.
Why was I programmed to feel pain? What are you playing as currently?
I'm going to be doing. I think we're going to be starting a campaign today, and I'm going to be Tomb Kings, and Damas is going to be Bretonnians.
Bretonnians and Tomb Kings.
Yes,
the classic combo.
Yes, we're classically comboning. Well, there's actually a Bretonnian Knights Errant leader, John de Rapance. I don't know. There's a lady knight errant.
Rapance de Lioness?
Rapance de Lioness. Yes, Rapance de Lioness. And
I'm ashamed you didn't ask me. I know my Bretonnian lore.
I couldn't fucking remember her name. Rapance de Lioness, she starts right by Cetra. So you just start with them allied, and then we can start taking over all of Khemri.
Oh, that's fun. All right. So come subscribe to the iTunes, come subscribe. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on the Instagram. I just broke 1,000 followers, which makes me feel happy.
Oh
yes. You could see my new gaming table. I just posted it on there.
Oh,
and I'm working on a Warlord Titan in resin, so I'm gonna be posting a lot of my works in progress on that soon. So nice. Aside from that, Steve, until next time,
whatever happened to Saturday night?
I don't even know what that is.
Neither do I.
Game Classy.